What up, what up, what up? Yeah, we had some music there. A little bit of a teaser for this Tank Top Tuesday that's coming up on Tuesday. You didn't get the whole thing. Let me tell you, you probably got enough of it, though. You probably understand what's coming, and it is going to be fantastic. Let me take down this banner here real quick. Boom, boom. Got that. Well, welcome. It's Friday night. We've got a 5-gamer. It's exciting. Unfortunately, some of my promo pieces did not hit yesterday, so we're going to have to come up with some hot takes, loaded up, and ready to clip. Now, I will say we're airing on a couple different channels today. Little iLogic Media on Facebook, little bit of Draft for Upside on Facebook, and then the iLogic Media channel as well. If you're one of the new viewers watching from one of those stations, also check out Esports with Emmerich on YouTube. That's where this is originally aired, but part of the iLogic family, originated on the Draft for Upside podcast back when it was just a podcast, no video. Maybe we'll do something this year for football, get the old gang back. Speaking of the old gang, when it comes to the Shark Cove, the guy that's been here more times than anyone else is here again. It's Moose. Moose. What's up, man?
What up? Awesome. Thank you for sharing the song, or at least a part of it. We did give Josh a quick rundown of what the song sounded like, and he was losing his shit because he was laughing so hard. So I'm definitely excited for that. It's just, it's great to be on as usual, and a pretty cool slate tonight, cool slate yesterday, and a lot to talk about. So I'm glad that league has actually been interesting. I lost money yesterday, and I wasn't even upset.
That's impressive because you did take down the 44, and tilting enough for me. I had almost the identical lineup. I thought about running that same lineup in the 333, but I decided that Damwon, who I thought would sweep, would probably outscore Gen G team slot. That was not the case. They didn't sweep. They didn't win. And as a result, I only got a top 10 in the 333 as opposed to a first place, which was it's like a $4,500 swing. So needless to say, it was a little tilted for most of the day. And that lineup, had I put it in like the $10, just about everything except for the main, that would have taken it down. So I looked at it, and let's say I ran it in every contest, winner take all and everything, would have been like a 10K day. And these days in league, it's kind of difficult to get a 10K day because the prize pools are kind of small. But all right, day betting, LEC went almost exactly the way I thought. Astralis not getting the win was, I don't know. That's, I guess, a little tilting. I didn't get to watch the game, but it appeared like they were in command for at least some part of it. And that game not hitting the over also kind of sucks for me. But Moose, I know you're excited. I know you're ready. I am wearing all red. I do have the red lights on. Don't read too far into that. I'm not a red side guy. We're still blue side all the way.
We're pink side. We're pink side today.
Pink side. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about this first game. Let's bring it on the screen. Boom, boom. Here we go. We've got a banger, and I mean that. Like, literally, this is a banger. I am excited about this. Not in the way that some league purists might be. There are people that don't like watching bad teams play each other. There are people that don't like fiestas and sloppy games. And I get it. Like, if you're betting on one side of the team or one side of the game and you're expecting some type of clean match, like, oh man, that's not going to happen, right? And these two teams are part of a grouping of teams that have incredibly high kills per win, incredibly high deaths per loss. And, say what you will about their wins because they're few and far between these two teams, but both of them die a lot when they lose. I'm excited about this. I did my own projections today, and I had to manually lower WE because they were just off the charts. Moose, Do you like WE? Let me ask you. We're not to the DFS portion. Do you like WE as a plus 135 dog here, running a ragtag, new lineup, no continuity? Can this guy View get it done where Bayshon couldn't?
Astralis plus 255, book it. Let's go. Starting off with some jokes. This matchup is the trifecta of great. And I know Gelati's gonna look at this matchup and he probably rolled his eyes and went, "Oh God, I have to write about this matchup." And I'm glad I don't have to write about it because the moment I see these two names, I know exactly what we're getting. Two bad teams with high kills per win, high deaths per loss. They're the worst teams in the LPL, and in the first game of the slate, the trifecta, baby. This matchup is lit. I love it, and I think the WE are more than live here. This minus 174 for Invictus is absolutely ridiculous. Invictus is not a good team, uh, as I learned myself playing them in cash, that they are not. And I had some faith in them. I believed in June. At one point, I believed in June very much this season. I believed in On. I believed in Yukai. Now it's Mole. They got I think that there's a lot of talented pieces in both of these lineups, but you they don't really have any sort of congruency. They have absolutely no veteran kind of presence except for like maybe Mole or Bubu, and it just feels to me like this matchup is very 50-50. And as far as I understand, I believe that WE even have side choice. Now
They do.
that doesn't necessarily mean that WE are going to pick blue because they haven't before, right? So they can easily pick red. But I think in this game, it truly doesn't matter. I think blue red is really, really good when you're focusing on teams that have a clear understanding of macro. And I don't think these teams even have an understanding of what game they're playing. This is going to be a very good solo queue matchup. Champs are going to be wild, and I think it's anybody's game. This should honestly be even. But you know, Invictus have taken games off of some notable teams. WE have taken games off of some notable teams. So I think everybody's live here, and I'm definitely looking forward to this match.
Yeah. So I think that if you're going to bet something here, I think you bet WE on the money line. You get the plus odds. You get them on blue side, or maybe you even just like bet them in the first map at the plus 120. You just have to win that one game, and you don't have to rely on them either. Upsetting IG on the second map, which presumably will be red side for them, or even that third game where teams seem to ignore the side a little bit more than they do in games 1 and 2 and play up to the fact that this is going to win the series. My biggest concern with Team WE is the just lack of consistency in the lineup. Now, I talked about this yesterday, and I'm going to continue to talk about it as these teams are putting different pieces in and out and swapping guys. It took a team that was a playoff team and now holds the single split like undefeated record in T1 and made them look average last year when they were swapping people out. You've had like no consistency when it comes to WE, with the exception, I think, of Bubu is the only guy that has played every single game this split for them. You've got Beishong and View splitting time in the jungle. View's come back after Beishong looked like he had solidified himself in that job, but like they've done nothing. And so here comes View. Then you got Jai, is I think how you say it, coming in for Shanks. That's been like a back and forth thing. I don't think they have a win with him. Not that they have a ton. I think all of their wins have come with Shanks in the mid lane. And then you've got Zing in for SMLZ. I think that happened a series or two ago. And we've got our boy Heel, one of like the worst players in the league, manning the support. On the other side of things, they have fixed IG's support designation. Wink is now a support, makes him a really interesting play. He has not, taken one of those ADC games like he did the very first time that him and On were in the bot lane. And I don't think Wink's a very good support either, but There is more continuity with this IG team. I do like June. I do like An. I like Mole. I like these guys when they win. June is just an absolute monster when they win. They just don't do it very often. But now here they are staring across the rift at a team that sucks arguably more than they do. I think this is a prime opportunity to kind of split your exposure here, or simply just have a good sweat or have your night over very quickly, because one of these two teams, quite possibly both these teams, might I even say, dare I say it, this could be a game stack opportunity here. I like this game. I like this game on both sides of it. I think you just have to decide who you think is going to win, and I'll take a look at those kind of projections in a little bit here. Again, bets, it's like WE, map one, or money line. Those are the only two that I have interest in outside of the overs. I think I want to take the overs at 26.5. When we go ahead and peer under the hood when it comes to these two teams, WE is at 24.4. That is a little bit concerning for me. But they've had a couple just like shorter kill games, and this TT series. They got rolled by V5. I just don't think that that's going to happen in this situation. And when you look at IG 26.3, I think this has Fiesta written all over it.
Yeah, it honestly, it's almost like too much of a fiesta. But yeah, there are no winners in this match. The only winners are the viewers, right? We're the only people that get to win this in this match. There's really
Depends on
no
the
winner.
viewer. Depends on the viewer. Some
It
viewers
depends
don't
on the
like this.
viewers. But this, for me, this is just a cherry on top of my day. I mean, you got to stay up for this and watch it. But when I saw this, on the matchup today, I was like, ooh, this is bad. This is not good. And definitely WEML, definitely grab the overs and everything, and just sit back, grab some popcorn, and watch some League of Legends that you could probably be as good as playing as they are. So go ahead. It's gonna be fun.
And the nice thing about this game from a DFS perspective is we have some other close games on there. So I venture to guess, and I haven't looked at the price and I haven't run the optos. I'd venture to guess you can fit a lot of different things. You're not kind of pigeonholed into picking one of these two teams to match them with, some other big favorites. Let's take a look over into the LCK and see the first game on the slate there. This is one that I expect to see quite a bit in cash. T1 minus 2,500. Mega favorites over Frederick Brion. I think, anytime you see a plus 550, plus 475 on a single map, plus 1,100, a T1 team that has dropped some games and most recently dropped a game one to KDF, I think you go ahead and take that. But I venture to guess that they're super expensive, but people will still find a way to fit them into their cash teams. In terms of betting anything beyond some of these dog bets, I don't think that there's much that you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely taking the plus 280 on Bro, because the plus 280 for a map is ridiculous, and I feel like that's just absurd, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just an absurd thing, because we've seen what Bro did to DRX. Juhan walks into a jungle, and then DRX just can't stabilize. They just can't get it under. So I was watching that game, and that game pretty much explained to me that Fred and Brion have a concrete understanding of how to play the game when they're ahead, but they have no understanding of how to play the game when they're behind. And
And they very rarely figure out a way to get ahead. So even though they have an understanding of doing that, it's just not a situation that they find themselves in.
yeah, and so in that DRX game, they just held on. They didn't give DRX a chance whenever DRX tried to come back into that map. Brion always got something on the other side. If DRX made a play for a tower, Brion was on Herald. If DRX made a bottom play, Brion made a mid play. They have a good dragon prioritization, which T1 I don't believe does the same. I would venture to also look into Brion First Blood and Brion First Dragon. I would definitely be interested in that as well. But it's just unreasonable to believe that there's such a huge skill gap here between these two teams in that regard. Because at the end of the day, it's like they're still in the same league. KDF took a map off of T1. This line is just crazy. I mean, this is the kind of line is like if T1 was playing, like, I don't know, man. If T1 was playing like Golden Guardians, like, I would believe this line, right? But this is against an LCK team that is perfectly capable of winning a map here or there, regardless of who they play.
Yeah, I mean, I almost think that you could take the plus 290 over 2.5. And me and Gelati had a conversation while you were on vacation about why that's typically a bad bet. But, I don't see a lot of scenarios where Brion wins this. I think you could hedge it. Like, so let me paint this picture. You can take Brion plus 1.5 and get the plus 280, right? Or you can take the over 2.5, get the plus 290, and then maybe sprinkle a tenth of a unit on the plus 1100. So if they do somehow end up sweeping, you're okay. You're covered at that point. So it just depends on what you're betting there. Just a thought. There's a way to hedge it. I haven't worked out the math there, but let's do it. Let's do it for a second. Let's say you have $100 unit, so $100 wins you 290, right? If Brion somehow ends up 2-0ing this, I mean, you end up profitable by doing that. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I think that kind of defeats the purpose. Now that I think about it, strike that from the record. Never happened. Let's go to the next game. JDG, BLG, Moose. I think this is, despite the odds, not indicating that this is on the same plane of that T1 and Brion series. I don't see many worlds that exist where BLG wins this series. They have devolved into just an absolute shit show, a terrible team. They have no idea who they are, who they're playing. So BLG, I don't think they stand a chance here. I want no part of them. JDG does have red side or blue side. I'm sorry. They have blue side option. I think that it might go 3 games because both of these teams like to play 3-game series. But I don't know, man. I think JDG is just in the smash spot here.
Yeah, a game that will be, I think, heavily overlooked today in DFS is this game, along with all the other games. It just feels like a really good slate. But in terms of the line here, I feel like even minus 375 is like pretty inaccurate for how bad BLG is. I mean, they're still not sure about who to play. They're still trying out Can and Icon. And Bin is kind of a no-brainer, not kind of their player. BLG is a team that is figuring it out as they play, and they're going up against a team that has figured it out, right? The only thing that kind of brings me down to earth is that JD Gaming have already clinched their spot in the playoffs. So I don't know if they're going to let off the gas a little bit and give up a map here or there, but they did clinch. That anxiety of like getting into the playoffs is already past them. So I don't imagine that they kind of let off the gas, but I think that with 3 games left, they're probably focusing on their remaining 2 games, which is V5 and RNG, as opposed to this game. If the plus 1.5 was better odds at plus money, I would definitely take it. But in this case, I feel like it's probably decently priced.
So let me point something out here to you as well. And I saw a post on this, and I typically I usually don't give this much thought. I don't look this far into it, but BLG went ahead, put together this roster, and they went out and got a new coach and supervisor. The coach came from Suning, who kind of underperformed last year, if you ask me. The supervisor came from JDG, who significantly underperformed last year. I'm talking about 2021 as a whole. And, under their leadership and their guidance, like these, very good players that they assembled at the beginning were unable to do anything. And now at this point, they just seem like a chicken with their heads cut off, or their mid cut off, I guess, because they're just swapping those guys in and out. You've got Can coming in. He looks decent. Rise looks like absolute crap. You demoted Doggo for this, and this guy doesn't have it together. I'm all over JDG. I don't think that they'll be sneaky. I think anytime that you have a team that has a kill per win, I think it's up near 20. It's absolutely absurd. It's over 20 at 20.19. Yeah, it's just not a sneaky thing. And BLG doesn't die a lot, but I don't think that matters to JDG. You can look up and down this. They had one series where they kind of underperformed from a kill standpoint. That was against TT. And say what you will, TT right now is better than BLG. TT then is better than BLG now. So
yeah, the BLG are just not a complete team, and they're 4-7. Things aren't looking good for them overall. I mean, I'm not playing any BLG tonight. I have no interest in being involved with BLG at all. The only thing that's interesting is that they do have a pretty low DPL. They don't give up too many in losses, and it feels like this might be just a quick 2-0 for JD, where they just run all over them and kind of end the game. JD Gaming are averaging 20 kills per win, but it feels like they might get neutered a little bit here if they don't really play up to what they're usually playing. That being said, they did drop, I think, 19 and 20 kills against Invictus, but they gave up a map.
yeah, I mean, wow. I didn't realize, I saw Gugs talking about it in the Discord. I didn't realize that the Toronto Blue Jays have put up 21 runs in the first 5 innings against the Red Sox. That's pretty absurd. I wish I played the Blue Jays in DFS like our boy Mort did, but I didn't play them, so I didn't play MLB DFS at all. Anyway, moving on, KTNS. Moose, I want to bring this up for you because I want a visual component when I'm talking about this. First of all, I think KT is very good. They've rattled off what it was like 6 straight wins after dropping a series to KDF, but that's not why I brought this up. It's just not. Aiming has been a hero, but let us not forget that this Nongshim team has lost out of their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. They are 1-14 in their last 15 maps. Absolutely abysmal performances, and they only seem to be getting worse.
Yeah, Nongshim, I think that after the losses to Bro, I feel like they've kind of just mailed it in. The KT, I don't know if KT broke them or something, but they're completely out of the picture now. It doesn't look like anybody's on the same page, and this is going to be a match that will be overlooked, and probably one where, like Damwon, KT's going to walk in there, and if KT's fighting for playoffs, they're just going to walk all over them. I really don't see any maybe a map here or there, 2-1 or a 2-0, but I definitely take KT here at face value, and I'd love to get them involved tonight because it feels like this is going to be a match that will be extremely overlooked.
I completely disagree with you. I don't think this will be overlooked at all. I think people are going to play aiming. I think people will play the KT team slot. I think those things are absolutely going to be utilized. I think this line, I think a lot of these betting lines are just absolutely atrocious. Nongshim should be much, much, much bigger dogs given what I just showed you. But look, KT, it's hard to forget what they did earlier in the split. It's hard to forget all these games that they threw, but this is a roster that has come together. They understand who they are. They play around aiming. Aiming is the only carry. Vikla needs to support him, get a couple kills here and there, but Amy's going to have a 40 kill share. And the biggest thing for me when it comes to KT and the resurgence within the split, or a consistent output performance, is basically the play of Rascal up in the top lane has been phenomenal the last couple series, and that really makes the difference. I think you are getting a huge edge at KT minus 240. I don't know if Gelati agrees with me. I'll probably wait for his article to see whether or not he does. But I would, just given how bad Nongshim have been, I almost think that minus 1.5 at plus 130 is a spot that I'm interested in. Now, all of that said and done, when we talk about DFS, Nongshim needs to be in the equation. Look, the worst teams in the LCK are not on the same level as the worst teams in the LEC or the LCS when we're talking about matchups. And Nongshim, it's still BDD, it's still Canna, it still goes. And granted, these are not top of the table players anymore, and maybe some of them never were, but they're still talented enough that they can beat a team like TT or KT. I'm sorry, I don't think they could beat TT. They could beat KT maybe. So in DFS, I think that they're worth some consideration just because I don't think this game will be overlooked. I think Nongshim will be completely overlooked. And it's just, they do it once or twice per year. I might even put in a series of lineups in the main, and there might be all Nongshim lineups. And I'm ready to lose my money if that's the case. What's the difference between playing Nongshim and Damwon team slot? It doesn't fucking matter, okay? So let's go. Royal, never give up. RNG, EDG. Absolute banger, complete opposite of the first game that we talked about, IG and WE. We have two of the top teams in the LPL. We have, I think this is a rematch, right, of a playoff series. Am I wrong? No, maybe not. I don't know. We've got EDG, defending world champions. We've got RNG, defending two-time MSI champions, back-to-back, playing in a game where RNG has blue side, I believe, blue side advantage, and blue side pick. They do. EDG have not, I don't know. Look, I've seen people say that EDG looks bad. I don't think that they look crisp. I don't think that they look good. I don't think that they're in world's form. But I don't know if they're just holding something back. I don't know if they're kind of just cruising through this because they don't look terrible. They don't look bad, but they're not exciting. They don't score a lot of points except for the other night. That was against LGD. Now you're playing an RNG team that doesn't score a lot of points. Neither of these teams have high KPW. But what I will tell you is that RNG, when they lose, man, this is some fireworks. So is EDG, who is a good red side team, a dog that you're kind of interested in betting at the plus 110?
Definitely. Not an. I don't know if the plus 110 is something that probably is spot on in terms of where we see them. That being said, EDG are still EDG. They're still a good team. They still have it together. And they're bringing JJ back because the other JJ took care of business. Now this JJ's rested up and he's gonna they got their starting lineup together again. These teams I believe haven't met since MSI, right? And so this
Well,
is
there
gonna
was
be
not MSI playoffs. I think last in spring. Did they play a series in the playoffs?
I think EDG got knocked out early.
Yeah, they did. So yeah, they haven't played since
MSI, right? Or no,
no,
not
they
MSI.
don't.
They haven't played since the World Championship.
No, they haven't played since spring. They haven't played since spring.
That's
Like
spring.
they played a series in spring.
Right, they played a series in spring that was also really close. It was a 2-1, and I think RNG won. Kind of see it the same way here. RNG getting side choice, probably going to be taking that blue side. It just feels to me like it's going to be 3 blowout games. One way or another, 2-1 either way. It's going to be 3 blowout games. 16-9, 18-9, 29. Something like that. I really don't see how it goes any other direction than that. Like you said, EDG they're just not a 20 kill win team, which I think caps their overall, the excitement overall. They kind of show up, and when they win, they just kind of take care of business. That being said, RNG do give up a lot in their deaths. They don't like to lose, and if they're going to lose fat. So yeah, EDG I feel like are definitely a play. It's just concerning to me that they're not going to have 2 blue sides to work with, and their recent performance hasn't been as good as we're used to.
Yeah, I think the concern that you have to have is, outside of their series, so they have had 2 series recently where, they scored admirably. This is a 5-game slate, so you do not have the luxury of being able to just like pick winners and cash. It's kind of a cliche thing recently, and I'm not picking on any one person for saying it because I've seen so many people say it over the last week or two. Like, I had 2 winners and I didn't cash. Well, depending on the contest that you're in, 2 winners doesn't constitute a cash. Now, if you're playing heads up or very, very small fields, a lot of times if you have 2 winners, you can cash. But when we're talking about a 5-game slate, picking EDG, even if they win this series and they win it in a 2-1, and I think that's the biggest concern. If they win it in a 2-1 and they have like a 16 and a 16, or even like a 22 and a 10, like that's just not good enough. It's not going to get you there. And you can see through their game long here, they're capable of like those 18, 19 point games, but only have 120 plus. On the other hand, RNG is very similar in terms of their profile and what they get when they win. They've had a couple of those bigger games, but they've given them up. 26 to WE, 23 to top, 23 to OMG. Like they're just asleep at the wheel for one game every series, and it's the weirdest thing to me. So I don't know if that limits their upside, because when we go back over to this, EDG is not a team that dies a heck of a lot. They did one time to IG, they did JDG, but they're still at 16.2. They've got a fair amount of losses. Okay, even to a team like Victory 5, they only gave up 32 deaths in 2 games. To Top Esports, 24, 26 total in 3 games. So take it for what it's worth. We'll take a look at how these lineups come together. I think my favorite bet for this series would probably be, probably like EDG map 2 minus 110. But this is very close. I think RNG is probably the better team. I expect them to win. I think that this is priced very similarly to what it is, but if you want to watch it for more than just personal enjoyment, you don't want to play it in DFS, and you need a sweat, those are some of the spots you can go. Or if you're just kind of confident like I am, I'll consider that RNG minus 145. Haven't made up my mind here. I do think RNG wins this series. I just don't know if they win it enough times to constitute putting any money on there. We'll take a look at the slate as a whole. We'll see what kind of money I'm putting out there in bets. Right now, I don't have a lot, so I might need a sweat here, especially because this will probably be going on at 10, 11 in the morning. Okay, cool. Yeah. Anyway, last game. Oh, that was the last game. I'm sorry. I had another screen up. So I felt like we'd only talked about 4 games because that T1 Bro wasn't there.
Last game.
Let's talk about cash, Moose. Where are we going in cash? T1 the spot, T1 JDG. Does that even fit? Does that work? Can we do that?
No, we're gonna have to enroll the help of our friends at the roster tonight.
Well, look, man, I ran it through. You can get a missing captain. You look Kanavi, Yago. This isn't terrible, right? So look, here we're at 515. Let's take a look at a couple other options with that T1. Let's go with KT. Got 515, 514, very similar. You get a little bit different kind of captain lineup there, a little owner. Maybe we go to IG, because you like playing IG in cash, don't you?
Love it. Yet.
Scores are way through the roof there, but that's just from IG. It is a top captain type situation. So what you were saying is that we're going to go with our boys over at KT and grab a team slot? Is that what we're thinking here?
No. We just we basically I feel like the best pricing on the slate today, like the best value is you're going to be able to get is out of Kuz and Vikla. And I feel like if you play a couple of KT players with your T1 JDD stack, you can fit a lot of good pieces in. You can get Owner, you can get Guma. I feel like Owner captain is just a smash spot tonight because he's just gonna walk all over Bro. So you can also get they really like missing tonight, man. They love missing tonight.
I can't say that I hate this lineup right here. Look, when I put together these projections, let's take a look at how they work from, a whole slate standpoint. We'll take a look at the pricing, but from the top position, again, like that WEIG series just kind of profiles to me like it's more than likely going to be one of the highest scoring series that we've seen. So, when it comes to DFS, you have one of 2 options. You can absolutely embrace that, pick a side and hope that you're right. You could play both of them and game stack it and hope that you're right. Or you can, completely fade it, say that I'm wrong, my projections suck, fuck me, and we're going to play something else. those are all very viable routes, and my feelings won't be hurt if you take the latter. However, I think I'm going to take the former. I do think that I'm going to pick a side here. If you listened to me earlier, you probably know. But looking at it beyond that, EDG profiles decently in terms of it. JDG is kind of up there, and you can see that their score is a little bit better in a sweep than it is in a 2-1 for 369. I guess it just depends on how much he's able to grab the gangplank, because that seems to be the cheat code when it comes to 369 and fantasy points, at least.
Yeah, definitely like 369 tonight. I feel like he has a really good matchup, so I'm not really concerned about playing 369. I love him in cash, and I would love to get him more involved. Overall, though, I feel like this is like where you have like Cash Kingdom, right? So in terms of what you want to do with cash comes down to who you want to play and which teams you want to risk it with. So if you think that IG win tonight, then you play them with T1, you play them with KT, you play them with JDG, and then you just head yourself. On the other hand, if you're not sure and you don't want to play either of those teams because you just don't want to, wake up no losing, you could take the shot of being a mid-range player and play a combination of T1, JD, and KT. It's really just comes down to how people play cash tonight. I'm absolutely sure that people will probably just jam IG into cash, or they'll try to avoid the whole situation.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see how we can play this combo here, and it looks like if you want to play, a Zune Captain with Kanavi 369, I mean, you can mix one of these, but this looks like it's obviously playable. The challenge that you're going to have is you are going with some type of dog, and maybe you're taking an EDG, or maybe you just take a huge step down to like maybe Nongshim. This isn't cash, this is kind of just a GPP thought here, but I think you could probably take EDG team slot if you feel like it's that much better of a score. I mean, 595 versus, what do I have this at? 595 versus with the top captain, 575. That, of course, so it's pretty equal, because that is an in-win projection for EDG. If they take a map, they probably are about 20 points less than that. If they get swept, then it doesn't make any sense there. But it's kind of depressing that there's an IG JDG slate and you're unable to play Jun and Kanavi together. That just seems like something that a lot of people would do, I guess.
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel like Kanavi tonight will be completely overlooked because of that. It
The
just feels like
price.
price is high, and uh he's priced higher than a lot of stuff tonight, and overall there's just so much juice on the slate that you don't know where to really turn, right? You could either play Kanavi, or you got Mole, you got Gala at the same prices. Um, for some reason, Faker it's priced insanely today, but that's okay because he did have his best game of the year against Bro a couple weeks ago, so it does interest me about the T1 pop off. But overall, I feel like jungle captain tonight, especially in GPPs, is going to be very very non-existent unless it's a Kanavi stack or something. It just doesn't feel like it's going to show up all very often. It feels like people want to fit, especially because of JD. The way their team is they got Hope and Yagao, both players that are capable of scoring a lot of points. I'm not necessarily saying that Toothpaste is having is putting up insane numbers, but he's put up, I think, an average of 90 over his last 3-4 games, including a 127 and 100. And Yagao tonight gets Icon, and Icon is like, just get me off this team. he's like, well, he's like half fighting for a spot, half doesn't want it. Plus, Icon might just get sat. So, there's definitely some options tonight if you're looking into them, and the combinations tonight are going to be super interesting because people are going to get super creative with their one-offs. You're going to see a lot of people playing different, cheaper team slots. The JD Gaming being so cheap at team slot, RNG being below 5K as a team slot. Whether or not they win below 5K gives you a lot of value, and they do like to put up 55 plus in 2-1 wins. So there's definitely a lot of creativity tonight, and I wish our 333 had at least three entries because I have so many things I want to play tonight and I can't. I want
Fair.
exposure to so many places. Um, that being said, if you're looking at the slate and thinking, oh, I'm playing WE, JDG, in GPP, then you will be what the competition feasts on because everybody's gonna have that. I feel like that'll be the most popular dog slate of the night, right?
What, WE?
WE, JDG.
Yeah, look, I think WE, I mean, looking at this, I'm kind of surprised at the pricing for IG. Just seems a bit heavy handed. I mean, look, I guess it just goes to show you how bad people look at WE. But and granted, I have them priced pretty high, but I have Viper scoring really high in a win. I mean, I think this is if you're playing one of the bigger GPPs, I think some of the things that you need to consider and the places that you need to go, especially if you're MMEing, is going like an EDG WE. I think that that's an interesting way to play. What can you do here? I think EDG becomes a very interesting play because look, there are so many things that you can do, and a lot of times, and I alluded to this earlier, that a lot of times when you have a slate like this, specifically the 5 gamers, specifically where there's like one of these matches that are super close, you get people gravitating towards there because there's like 3 teams, they're all super high priced. Those are the teams that you want to play, and then there's 2 teams, and you just got to pick a side there. Well, you kind of have to pick a side in a couple of these matchups, but they don't give you the pricing like it's pick a side in WEIG. I think that game's just as close to a pick 'em as RNG EDG is. Yet IG is here priced through the roof. Again, and maybe that's the way it should be. Maybe that's what the odds should be, given the fact that WE is running out another iteration of their lineup. But I don't know. Like, we haven't talked too much about T1 and Bro. I don't have a ton of interest in that. I think that when it comes down to the LCK game that unlocks this, the team that I have the most interest in an MME situation feels disgusting, and I don't even want to say it, but like, bro, can we make some money off of Nongshim? Like, can we get what we need? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, can we go ahead and get a little Nongshim action? Nobody's gonna have Nongshim. I guess the worst thing that could happen though, right, is Nongshim wins like 2 games at like 15-4 or 9-6 or something like that. You predict the Nongshim win their first 2 maps that they've won out of the last 15, and then they go and like lay a 25 point or a 25 kill sweep or something like that. I think I actually have them projected for 28 in a 2-0. So I don't know, man. If there's a team on this slate that has a realistic chance of having like sub 3% ownership and it has a realistic chance of winning, I think it's Nongshim, because the other team is Bro, right? Sure, Bro could win. They could. But I mean, you just look at the odds, and you can see that Nongshim's more likely to win.
Yeah, odds wise, obviously, Nongshim are not to be counted out, but overall team state just makes me cringe every time I click their players. And the last time the 2 teams played, it was closer than it seems. Kana had an amazing game last time they played, and overall, I mean, the teams, KT and NS are gonna play close. They're gonna play each other close. They're gonna play each other. Uh, they're gonna play each other like 2 competitive teams for sure. Where T1 is interesting is that if you look at T1's previous drafts, they kind of clowned on Bro. They played a draft of Senna, Diana, Lee Sin, Yoni, and Yasuo in a matchup where Zeus put up 96 points. And Owner put up 93 points, and even Faker had a great game on the Yasuo. And overall, I mean, it just seems to me like T1 doesn't take Bro very seriously when they do stuff like that, and it it you really have to kind of flip a coin and see which T1 is going to come out tonight. Is it going to be map 1 T1 that just 13-8s Bro, puts him away in a single fight, or is it going to be the T1 that wants to, draft Diana, Yoni, and Yasuo in the same comp. I'm not really sure, but I think that is something to pay attention to, given the fact that T1 is, almost kind of known for these weird drafts where they want to get Diana involved. So I don't really know what's
Yeah,
happening.
but I mean, I don't. T1 doesn't strike me as the team that trolls a whole series. I mean, if they win the first game, maybe they go ahead and do that. They are, lockstep with Gen G for that number 1 seed. Both 10-1. They play each other again. You don't want to you don't want to slip up and lose somewhere else and lose the traction on that and go to some type of tiebreakers. I don't even know what the tiebreakers would be. I guess if they lost. Nevertheless.
So, what do you think about ownership-wise when it comes to JDG, T1, and KT, and RNG, for that matter?
In what format?
Like, what do you think about their percentages? Like, who do you think is going to be more?
I understand in what format, though. Like, are we talking cash or GPP?
Oh, GPP format, yeah.
So I was going to say in cash, what you're going to see and what you're going to see in winner take alls is these Frankenstein, 3-2-2s. You just see them all the time now, right?
Oh yeah, they're optimal now. Good luck figuring out what you want.
I don't know if they're optimal in like winner take alls or head to heads or specifically winner take alls. I think that you are better off with kind of like a GPP 4-3 stack or maybe a 4-2-1. I definitely don't think the 3-2-2 is the way that you want to go. But in terms of GPPs, top owned team,
JDG.
Yeah, I was going to say JDG or even IG. I think IG is going to have a ton of ownership.
Yeah, a ton of ownership for JDG, IG. I think because when you look at the numbers, you have JDG, IG, and then probably some split between RNG, EDG, and KT. And I don't know. I feel like when you look at the slate as a whole, it doesn't feel like the KT and S game is going to be looked at. This is kind of where I was looking at because there's so many close matchups today and chances for players to score. Like you said, EDG has a chance to pop off against RNG. JDG has a chance to go off. WEIG both have a chance to win. W could get their first win, or IG could secure their second. So there's just doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be saying to themselves like, oh, what part of NS or KT do I want involved?
I don't think that there's that big of a drop off too from JDG to KT. Now, certainly, I think that JDG's range of outcomes, like on the higher end, is a little bit higher than KT's, and they get there a lot more frequently. The biggest concern that I have with JDG is just their inability to wrap up series within 2 games, and the way that they play that third game that they lose. Now, that could be a blessing and a curse. If they lose that game in Fiesta fashion, then yeah, they're going to have an even more optimal 3-game score. But if they get just stomped, which seems like happens sometimes to JDG, like they're a team that like if they fall behind very, very early, like they did to IG, I believe it was, like from that bush fight top lane, they don't recover. They come back and they smash. But I think we could take a look at this when they lose, not just even on average, but let's just take a look at these games: 7-7, 5-3, 5-9. 17 to RA and 13 to IG. So maybe it was a different team. I think it was OMG. It was OMG that I was talking about. That's not a profile of a team that does better in 3 games than they would in 2. It just isn't. Are you still there?
Okay. Yeah, I'm here. I thought you had a point to make.
I mean, I'll say end thought from now on. I'm basically just saying that they're not. There are some teams sometimes that do very well in losses, or players that do well in losses, and that you almost want them to go to 3 games on a regular basis. I don't know if JDG is that team. Certainly, if they go to it, they do have like slate breaking capabilities, as you can see in the RA series where they had 27, 37, 44, 54, like a 60 kill trio here. I mean, granted, they had a lot of deaths that go along with it. The IG series to some lesser extent, and BLG has shown the ability to take games. I just don't know if this version of BLG is able to take a game from them. And if that's the thought that you have, then yeah, I think a lot of people are going to think that is where I'm going. And so I agree with you. They'll probably be the top owned. The question, I guess, then is do you think IG takes ownership away from them, or they take ownership away from IG because these are both such high priced teams that you're not really fitting them together with any type of comfort lineup? But yeah, look, Rich Captain won yesterday, right? So captain in the top captain could be the ticket again. I
Yeah,
don't think it will be.
Zika 369, 10 kills each on Gangplank,
Yeah,
something
for
like
sure.
that. I mean, it's possible, but yeah, I mean, they definitely take away from each other because they're so high priced for sure. And I think that people are just gonna say, okay, well, I'm gonna play IG with one of these other teams, RNG, KT, T1, and then I'll just save my JDG stack for WE.
Yeah, it's just let's do something here. Let's go into the optimizer. Let's go do this. Let's avoid sub captains. Let's avoid top captains. Let's avoid team captains. Set this to 80. Let's apply the settings.
Did you
Go
know
back here.
WE took a team off of took a game off of RNG?
Yeah, they took one off of JDG too, didn't they? They've
No, no,
taken.
no, no. JDG2 owed them because WE picked red side.
Yeah, but WE took a game off of somebody else. It was RNG, OMG, RA, Weibo. They took a game off of Weibo. That was what I guess I was thinking. So you
Yeah,
go top cap or Cuz who's captain there. Don't love it.
yeah. I feel like Kuz is like so frustrating, man, because he has these amazing performances and then he just kind of runs around the map not doing shit the rest of the time. So I'm not really sure what to expect from him. KT obviously I think is one of those teams where you want to focus on aiming in the team slot, and then you can exchange Rascal or Vikla or one of these players for a more aggressive player from the LPL and just kind of afford to one stack it like that.
Yeah, the more I look at it, I think people will gravitate. I think RNG is going to have some ownership. They just fit well with some of the other top teams. People are going to feel good about playing RNG, I think. Um,
A lot of
so,
their team slot is like below 5K. Like
mhm.
that's money, dude. That fits a lot of dude. If your team slot is below 5K, and you're a favorite team, like that's not so bad.
Yeah, man, that's what I got. I think that your key is. I think the key is this series. I think the key is this series. Maybe there's two keys. That's why I said, if you took EDG with WE, or maybe you take EDG with IG because they're, both white and black, and there's some symmetry in that color scheme. Definitely fits in a fashion that you can get pretty much whatever you want. And I love having a Viper captain. I think in an EDG win they score very well. The problem is whether or not they can win 2 games in a row. Um, yeah, I mean that's all I got for this slate. That's all I got.
It's a jam-packed slate, and I think that everything except for bro is an option tonight. Everything except for bro is playable. So I mean, if you take out bro and BLG, you still have 7 teams to choose from. So you can't go wrong. And I feel like in the bigger tournaments like the 333 and that you have to kind of play smarter um, in terms of going for a 99 percentile lineup, which I can work on better myself. Because if you're just going for like how many people played WBG Gen yesterday, right? Like half the slate played WBG Gen, and they all lost. Why? Because they didn't get the magical lineup. Had we played our idea, which was to play TT, even in a 1-2 losing effort, and stack them with somebody like a V5, then that's money, right? So I feel like you do have to take chances on teams like EDG, WE. even an S tonight in order to kind of find yourself in a 1% situation.
Sure. Well, let's switch some gears. Let's go over to the LEC. Let's talk about these games, what we have in store, not from just necessarily a DFS perspective, but let's take a look from a betting perspective. Opening game, we've got BDS, we've got Astralis. BDS plus 139 dogs here. They've looked absolutely atrocious. I don't want any part of this at all. I think Astralis is definitely a team that can win this game and should win this game, but plus one or minus 175 seems a little steep. I think I'll take the minus 6.5. That was the route that I ended up taking with SK today, as opposed to taking them on the money line. I got, a little bit better odds with a minus 5.5. When BDS has lost, they've lost big. I think a minus 6.5 for Astralis is kind of the way that I'll probably lean over in the LEC. Any thoughts on that?
I think you put it right on the money. I think Astralis wins, and you can either take the minus 175 and eat the juice, or you take a kill split. But also, I mean, Astralis is winning that game.
Sure. Mad Lions, SK Gaming. Mad Lions look good. SK Gaming has won 3 in a row. They've had a couple upsets. They're plus 200. I think I'm going to ride with the dog, ride the hot hand, and see if SK can shock the world.
I would just take kill spreads in that one. I don't know. It just feels like Mad Lions really want to just end games quickly. They don't really want to have these massive advantages in terms of kills. I don't know what they put up today, but
it's like a 14-2, so they would have covered a spread there.
Well, Vitality's just completely shit the bed in that regard, but yeah.
I mean, 15-9, 17-1, 22-10, 15-2, 12-3. I don't like your idea.
Right,
I get it.
Mad Lions are good at the game.
Yeah, so when they're winning, they're winning. I'd rather play plus 200, get the plus odds there. I think I'm taking Misfits plus 145. I do think that they've come together and they are playing better. They lost to XL. I think XL is a good team. I think Vitality just leaves a lot to be desired. I know that it is oftentimes very taboo to take Friday's results and apply them to what you're looking at on Saturday. But I like Misfits as a plus money dog here against Vitality, plus 145. I don't think that you can. I don't think you can ignore that.
Yeah, definitely think they should be way closer than it is. Vitality they just proved today that they have no clue what's going on in terms of macro. They're just struggling. Like Mad Lions were getting picks all over the map, and Vitality was just always a step behind them. I feel like Misfits are more than capable of capitalizing on that and winning in the match.
Yeah, the big thing for Misfits, and we highlighted it yesterday, is that Misfits have been really bad in the early game, and this dates back into spring. They found ways to get back into games despite massive gold deficits at 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. But they played a really good early game against an early game team in XL. XL did get a couple picks within the early part of the game, the Herald, the Dragon, a Tower, and they just got so much, but the game was still close. They made a couple of mistakes, but that's just kind of exactly what happens. It seems like all too often with Vitality. There are games where they look fantastic. They have it all together. And this could be tomorrow, but I don't, they're implied at minus 190 almost means they win 2 out of 3 times. And I just don't think that that's the case. Like you said, it needs to be a little closer. I'm going to take the Misfits plus 145 there. Next one, Rogue minus 145 against G2 plus 110. Look, G2 has Rogue's number. G2's not playing very well. Rogue is minus 145. Feels like a trap, but I am walking right into it.
I'm taking Rogue all the way. I don't care about curses or bullshit. G2 suck.
Yeah, like this iteration, this version, the way that they're playing this G2 team, this is the type of team that Rogue absolutely dismantles. Rogue plays a very fundamental game. It's just good in all of their positions. G2, I wouldn't be surprised if G2 pulls out of this, gets it together. I just don't think it's going to happen in the middle of a week. If we saw what we saw from G2 today, I don't think that they fix some of those problems. Those problems may get fixed later on in the season and into playoffs if they if they can fix it fast enough to make sure that they get in playoffs, because I think they're going to have a loss here against Rogue. I'm smashing that minus 145. Final game on the slate. I think that this one does present you some kind of ponderance here. Fnatic profile, a lot of their metrics as one of the better teams in the league. I think the talent is there, but I think something is missing. I just look up and down this roster, and it's just not exciting to me. I'm a big XL backer. I like the way that they're playing. I like what they're doing. I like the swag that they have, the confidence that they have in their picks, like a Samira pick today. I didn't love it, but, it worked out really well, and I understand why they picked it. I was curious where these guys were going to go, as they just basically banned all the ADCs. I thought we were going to see a Sivir game, but it was ended up being a Xayah Samira game. I hated the Xayah pick. I hated the Xayah build. I think XL is going to have to draft a little bit better against Fnatic, because I don't think that Fnatic will make that same mistake drafting a Xayah, building Gale Force into rapid fire cannon, and essentially having just a lack of damage from your ADC position in the mid game spike where she's strongest.
Yeah, maybe this is just a jerk reaction type of line, because Fnatic haven't been doing so hot, but the draft today was okay. I mean, they just got outplayed by a better team, a significantly better team in Rogue right now. I imagine that XL will have their hands full, and I don't know. It feels like the money's right on, man. Like, I would probably put Fnatic at 150.
Yeah, I think that this is closer to what we see with EDG and RNG, like a minus 120, minus 110 situation. So I think Fnatic's overpriced. I think Excel's underpriced. And so for that reason, I'm going to take Excel. What I will say about this slate is, from a betting standpoint, that there's just not a lot of spots where I want to put multiple games together. Like I did do a parlay today where it was Mad Lions, Excel, and Rogue. And, that worked out great. I think if I'm doing something similar to that, I start it with Rogue and Astralis, and maybe I put in a Mad Lions, or maybe I put in an SK Gaming, or maybe I've even put in a Misfits. But the lack of confidence I have for Misfits and Excel, despite thinking that they're in good spots, and just despite thinking that the line is where I want to bet them, I don't want them to ruin the 2-game parlay. I think maybe I do a 2-game, a 2-3 games, and a 4-game. If I want to take that route, if I want to be parlay master on a Saturday, maybe I do, maybe I don't. Who knows? We talked about the LCS games yesterday, so we're not going to get into those. Let's just take a quick look, though, and see where the lines are on a couple of them. This line has not moved. This line has not moved. This line hasn't moved. This line hasn't moved. This line did move. So if you bet FlyQuest yesterday, my bad. At minus 125, I did say, hey, this is where you need to take it. It's at minus 115. I don't know if you hit it again, if you put your full unit or whatever you're betting on it, because it hasn't moved a ton. And I don't think it's going to move much more down in a direction towards FlyQuest being a dog or anything like that. So
hit it again.
That's all I got. Thank you so much, everybody, for spending your Friday night with us, or at least an hour of it. We'll be back for sure on Tuesday, Tank Top Tuesday. We might be back tomorrow. No promises. As of right now, I'm saying that we won't. That could change. Keep an eye out for socials. We'll drop a little teaser tomorrow if we're not going to be on for Tank Top Tuesday. But outside of that, Moose, thanks for joining. I'll see everybody later.